Hello, it's Kadesha. I'm back with another video. We have to become accountable, y'all. We do. We have to, of course, we have to hold ourselves accountable. But we also got to get around some people that are going to hold us accountable because it is getting really sad to the point that I'm just like, Lord, what is this? Is this seriously what we're going to be experiencing from here on out? And I believe it's up to us who can see, who the Lord gives you eyes to see, to not only call it out, but to stand up against it and to make sure that you're, of course, are holding yourself accountable and you're holding those around you accountable. And it's not easy either way. Nobody likes to be held accountable. So it's just like, and nobody wants to hold anybody accountable. So both parts is very, very hard, and it's going to take boldness and confidence to come from the Lord in order for us to see it come to fruition and see the people around us grow in areas that they need to grow in. So I was reading an article today, and it saddens me because oftentimes the enemy has put us at odds as a race for one, but as female and male, when even female and female or male and male, that's not your opponent. Your opponent is the enemy, is the world. That is your opponent. Your teammate is the person you're looking at. So, and I say that not everybody you're looking at. So let's not get confused on that. However, the people that we can be teammates with, we oftentimes will make them our opponent. And it's so sad that we don't realize this is a trick. This is a trick. And we have to, like I said, call it out and say, okay, as for me and my family, no more. We're not about to experience this. We're not about to allow this to take place. But yeah, so I was reading an article, and unfortunately, it's so sad where you see the celebrities, usually like it's an athlete or something, and you see these, and I don't know, I would say regular women compared to the person that they're dating, because most of the time it's like an Instagram model or there's an influencer or something like that, but the person is like a very, very well-known person, and so it's kind of different scales, even though they both would be considered famous or celebrities, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, one is usually a higher scale. You know, usually it's not two of the same doing this. And you see where these people are having babies out of wedlock, and becomes a paternity war, because most of the time it's the father, where they're trying to get him to pay child support. And they don't like, because they know his salary or his perceived salary, they don't like the number that the judge gives them, and they think they're supposed to get more. And I'm just like, I think I've talked about this before. I don't know. But it's so easy to say what you would do when you're not in something. So that's why you just want to stay away from that, because that's real tricky. And you'd hate to be, what is it? Don't let me tell you about it. You'll hate to be that person to where this video come back up years later when I'm in that position and be like, now what did you say? So I ain't gonna say what I would do, because I made the mistake of saying that. However, I believe accountability starts within ourselves, because I saw the person say, because the father ended up winning, I guess, the case, and the mother got upset and was like, oh, well, it's basically the media that is not, I can't even remember what it said. I had wrote it down so I can say it verbatim. But they were basically saying that the media doesn't, or not necessarily the media, but nobody holds the father accountable. And that's why we have so many single parent households. And it's like, unless you did not consent to be with this person, you had a choice. You had a choice. And so when you say these things, you act like your choice was taken away from you, like that person drugged you or whatever the case, and now you're stuck with the consequences of a baby and a father not wanting to be in the child's life. So we have to be so careful in this, because we will oftentimes play victim and not realize like what we're saying is removing ourselves as if we had no choice or no responsibility, when everybody has a choice. And I say this because even in those situations to where it wasn't consent, and God forbid, because I don't even want to talk about that's just terrible. And it's just like, yes, those things happen, but we do have a choice going forward on how we're going to move. And so if you're going to move in a way in which you wanting people to feel sorry for you, then that's going to keep you in a place of depression, anxiety, fear, woe is me. But if you say, okay, this has happened to me, and now I have to do something moving forward, so I can bring awareness to the situation. I can do, whatever I can, because I did go through this. So not to minimize anything that anybody goes through, because you don't know how somebody feels, how somebody's supposed to take it. You don't know that. And even if you have experienced that, you still can't say that somebody else should do it the way that you did it, because we're all different people. But the thing is, we cannot, in this situation, cannot step away from having some type of accountability and saying, I played a part in this, and unfortunately, because I did decide to do this, now my child has to grow up with another child is in the statistic of being in a home without a father. And that's so sad that we have to talk about this, but this has become the reality, and it has almost become I don't want to say normalized, but it has become like the thing to do, which is normalized, I guess, yeah. The thing to do is like, oh yeah, you seduce, because that's exactly what you're doing. These are not women that you're taking home to mom to say like, this is a nice young lady. These are not women like that. So it's just like, yeah, these people are getting seduced because they're looking at with the person with their eyes and saying, oh, they look really nice. And of course, nice is relative to everybody. And then the seducer is thinking that they're going to get something from this person because that person has, like I said, millions of dollars. And if they see the character of that person, they will realize like, this is not somebody I want to have a child by. But we just look at the aspect of money, and then everything else we forget. And then we want to say, when it doesn't work out in the way that we think it should, oh, y'all are not helping the situation. It's like, no, you not helping the situation. You not helping the situation. And I have done a lot of wrong in my life. And you know what I had to do? I had to take accountability for it. And I have to say, yeah, I did wrong. And I can try to blame somebody else for what happened, but I had a choice in that. And once we realize that, then you're able to get up, move forward, and talk to other people about what not to do. And that's the sad thing. We continue to think like what we're doing is right when it's clear that it's not. It's not right what we're doing, y'all. And so we have to start looking in the mirror and holding ourselves accountable. And if you're around somebody who you see that they are leaning to the victim side of what has happened, be that light, because who am I? You don't know me. And so it's like, yeah, like I always say, take my stuff with a grain of salt. But it's more so for you to look and say, okay, what do I need to do? Because I don't need to listen to what Kadesha got to say, because Kadesha don't know what my life is like. So she can't tell me how to go about doing something. But it's just like, look in the mirror, and we have to start holding ourselves accountable for things. And it's just, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting sad, y'all. And we got to do better. We have to do better. And not, and I can't remember if somebody else said that. I think I was at a church, and it's like, if not for us, for your children, for your children's children. It's like, okay, this has gone on far too long. Let's hold ourselves accountable for kids that's not even here yet. And unfortunately, we think that what we do only impacts us. But like I said, in this situation, that child who did not ask to be here is the one who is impacted because of a choice that you decided to do. And we don't think about that. So thank you so much for watching. Like I always say, sácame lo que quieres ver en otros. Ponme la gata na cominda. Until next time. Bye.